show. We are going to be going over UFC Vegas 65, I believe, and Bellator 288. Let's see. Get everything set up right. Okay, I think we're good. So, and then here we go. So, first, Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak is not the main event for yesterday. It gets moved. It is now Kennedy Nzechukwu against Ian Cutelaba, which ended in a finish for Kennedy, and he also got Performance of the Night honors. So good on him. I don't like him. I don't know what it is about him. He seems a little, I don't know, but he landed some perfect fucking beautiful knees on Ian Cutelaba, and he finished him. Uh, so yeah, all props to him. Second round finish. Nothing for the best for Kennedy. So yeah. Moving on. So then that makes the co-main event of the evening: Waldo Cortez Acosta against Chase Sherman. And I don't know, man. They, th- it's a heavyweight decision that looks terrible. Waldo Cortez Acosta ends up winning against Chase Sherman, who is now 1-8 as an underdog, which is hilarious. But yeah, that is the state of the heavyweight division for the UFC. Before that, though, we do get Muslim Salikov against Andre Fialho. Uh, the King of Kung Fu goes out there and puts on a striking clinic against a very good fucking boxer, Andre Fialho. He is a tough dude. Um, yeah, it's just one of those. Maybe he's getting pushed a little too hard. I get it. He's a really good fighter, but he also needs to be able to uh, like there's more to MMA than just boxing. And it looks like he's still in very early stages where he's very good at one thing, but the other things are still not 100% there, at least from what I've seen so far in his performances, to give him a fair shake. But yeah, Muslim Salikov ends it with a kick. He got Performance of the Night as well. Yeah. Before that, though, we have Jack Della Maddela, JDM. He is JDM. I'm sorry, Bisping. He's JDM, dude. Um, yeah. So JDM defeats Danny Roberts, first round KO. Again, the dude is insane. He's gonna be fighting in Perth. I mean, he's a shoe in for fucking Perth. And if you don't put him on the main card, I don't even. I mean, nah, that's gonna be stacked. So maybe he goes on the prelims, but still, that motherfucker needs to be right there. But yeah, he also wins Performance of the Night, so good on him. I did not expect anything less, really. And then starting off the main card, we had Charles Johnson against Zalgas Zumagulov. And what was, I mean, it's Zumagulov, like that dude. It's almost like Leonardo Santos. They have that energy where it's just gonna be fucking crazy, and I love it. I love it because it's utter chaos. It's utter chaos, and nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And that's a Zumagula fight. And this time around, he gets kicked by Charles Johnson, who has he needs to get rid of that haircut. I get it, but like, dear God. But yeah, he gets kicked right in the fucking balls, so gnarly that it's hilarious. Um, But yeah, uh, Charles Johnson wins the split decision. I don't know. Zumagulov, I guess flyweight needs people. I don't know. I thought he could have been cut. I don't know. He's a fun fighter. I don't know. But yeah, so because everything got shifted around, the main event for the prelims, or the highlight, I don't know. I forgot. I don't know. I just call it the main event for the prelims. Jennifer Maya is fighting against Marina Moroz. I thought it was going to be a very good fight. Maria Moroz was coming in with a 3-fight winning streak. Jennifer Maya had just won a fight. It was very close. Um, and Moroz has very good striking, but it looked like Jennifer Maya just was a little bit quicker to the punch. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she wanted to do. And I thought it was a very good fight. It ended up being a unanimous decision for Jennifer Maya, but yeah, I don't know. pretty one-sided. I thought it was a great performance, and yeah, she's still in the fucking mix in the top 5 for women's flyweight, which we will be talking about in a second. Because dear God, but the thing that I want to fucking highlight. Um, so yeah, we then had Miles Johns against Vince Morales. Now here is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So for anybody that doesn't really follow MMA or doesn't know a lot about MMA or doesn't know anything about MMA, the UFC just instituted a ban on gambling on behalf of everybody that is a fighter, anybody that's associated with a fighter, and etc. Etc. Kind of leaves it a little open, but you kind of assume it's going to be for coaches, it's going to be for, um, just people that are close to fighters that are privy to some information. So Miles Johns says post fight that he had a very tough fight against Vincent Morales. It was made even tougher. He took this fight on 2 weeks' notice, and his coach was banned from coaching him 24 hours before during dinner. That's what he said during post fight. From there, we find out that his coach is James Krause. Somebody in the commentary was just like, yeah, James Krause was supposed to be his head coach. He's not allowed. Or they never said that, but after Miles Johns said that he was banned, it was kind of, okay, why is he banned? What's going on? James Krause used to bet on fights, or he was going to start like a company about betting around fights. And that's whenever the ban came about. But a couple of weeks ago, Derek Minor, a athlete of his, was fighting against Nurmagomedov. From the very get-go, the odds were kind of normal. It was like a slight favorite to Nurmagomedov or something. As soon as the fight starts, he lands a kick, and apparently, I had reported about this earlier, where there was an investigation into what happened during that fight. As soon as somebody lands a kick, I think it was Nurmagomedov lands a kick, Derek Minor's leg is compromised, and the odds skyrocket one way. So it's almost like it was known that there might have been an underlying injury from James Krause's team. So now it's like, okay, this dude is a coach to the flyweight interim champion, Brandon Moreno. So that's where the extent isn't known. I mean, it's just assumed that he was part of the team. So, I mean, just to investigate everything, he's going to have to be under investigation by the UFC, the Nevada State Athletic. I forgot. I don't even think it's like an NSAC, but it's an NSAC type thing where they alert people of crazy bets like that. That went off, and that's what led into the investigation, and I think that's what led into the ban of James Krause from this event. That's not saying that he's going to be banned forever. I mean, but before they make sure about everything else, they're going to want to make sure that he had no dealings with this, and it was nothing on his end that created this problem. But yeah, that was the juiciest bit about this whole thing, was that Miles Johns just kind of like ousted James Krause in terms of possibly having some involvement with betting against his athletes. I mean, that's the implication kind of, and it sucks, but who the fuck knows? Hopefully nothing happened. Hopefully the investigation will clear this up for him. But yeah, as of right now, it looks like James Krause is in investigation because of betting activity, which is insane. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that fight was boring as fuck. I turned it off. Before that, though, we had Ricky Tercios against Kevin Natividad, and that shit was fucking insane. It was a crazy grappling exchange. I was not expecting that from Ricky Tercios, especially because of his last outing. He was having a tough time kind of like reaching his opponent. Like, his entries were really bad. He looked very just, I don't know, just kind of off, just kind of like, ha! And he was like announcing his strike before he was going to do it, which was also bad. Because he wasn't even trying to feint with his voice. He was just kind of like, ha! and so you know that it's coming. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go back. But yeah, he went out there, he put on a performance. It was a very close fight. It ended up being a split decision. I thought Ricky Tercios had it, though. I thought he did enough, at least for a 29-28. And he did. He ends up getting the win in a spectacular grappling fight. I mean, if you ever wanted to see high-level grappling, that's one of the fights. I mean, that's what I want to see people do on the ground. I think that'll be the next evolution. It's just like, oh, you realize that once you're on your back, you just move. Just move. Just go. Just go. Like, don't think, don't do anything, just start squirming. A lot of people, they end up getting themselves on their back and thinking like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Get the fuck out of there. That's what you do. Like, if you don't know what the fuck to do on your back, get the fuck out. Um, but yeah, congratulations to Ricky Tercios. And then we have Vanessa Demopoulos against Maria Oliveira, the battle of the heavy loaders. Vanessa Demopoulos actually, she decisions out Maria Oliveira. I thought Maria Oliveira did enough to get that win, but it is what it is. But yeah, she looked good in that fight. Actually, no, I think, yeah, I think I had Vanessa Demopoulos winning that fight. I don't know. I don't remember. But it was a very good fight. And yeah, besides that, we had Brady Heidstand. He defeats Fernie Gracie after getting dropped. Unanimous decision, so good on him. And then, okay, this is the one I want to talk about. Natalia Silva goes out there and puts down a beatdown of Teresa Bleda. She was undefeated going into this. She was a heavy grappler. I didn't know anything about her, but Natalia Silva, she had this amazing performance against Jasmine Dudovicius. I forgot what, I think it was a pay-per-view prelim, but yeah, oh my god. So I was really looking forward to the first fucking fight of the prelims. I was like super stoked. It was one of those crazy, weird little what I was telling my wife was like, I there's always that like Joe Rogan mentioning like, ooh, I know about Anderson Silva. Like, this motherfucker is bad. This motherfucker is a bad boy. And yeah, you want to put the house on that motherfucker. Like, you know, like the odds are good, but they're not that good. And you can put a lot of money and make a lot of money on them. This was that fight for me. I was just like, Natalia Silva is gonna, like, I'm super looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be insane. It doesn't matter who it is on the other side. She's gonna put out. And boy, after a first round where Bleda didn't do enough, I think, for me to get a 10-9. I saw some people scoring a 10-9 for Bleda, but it's damage. I mean, if we're going off of the criteria, which is what we should be scoring it as, this, however you feel about it, we got to score off the criteria. I got Silva in that first round. And I don't give a fuck who says different. That's the criteria that we're going off of. But then we also have the second round, which just started going more Silva's way. And then finally in the third round, she starts going off. By that point, Bleda was just kind of like, I'm out. Like, I can't breathe. I can't do anything. So Bleda was just kind of a sitting duck, and Silva was unloading and doing her thing. And she wins via spinning back jumping kick straight to the fucking throat. It was a thing of beauty, and she finishes with a couple of more shots that end up pushing the mouthpiece out. I mean, in slow motion, it is just perfection. But yeah, I love it. It's the best. She wins performance of the night. You know how rare it is for the first fight of the night to get a performance of the night? I'm telling you, flyweight is something else. We got her in the wings. We got Erin Blanchfield that just fucking performed at UFC 281 in a fucking washout of Molly McCann. Manon Fior. I mean, all these bitches are just, they're fucking under 28, I think. All of them. Fucking crazy. So yeah, women's flyweight is finally catching up to women's strawweight, and I am here for it. We also had Bellator 288 this past weekend, which had 2 championship fights. I'm gonna mention it because, yeah, they were really fucking good fights. All of the fights were, I thought, really, really fucking dope. Uh, we had Vadim Nemkov beating out Corey Anderson, which I don't know. I feel kind of bad because he was beating that ass that first time around. He was beating that ass, and then he ends up, just getting slightly outclassed by Vadim. He was just a little bit faster, to the point, just at the target quicker than Corey Anderson this time around. Vadim really did his homework in regards to Corey Anderson, and he ends up getting the $1 million via unanimous decision. And I thought it was going to be unanimous, or like going off into the third round or fourth round. It was okay. This is a unanimous decision for Vadim. Um, yeah, I don't know, but it gets announced: Vadim Nemkov against Yoel Romero for the 205 belt. I can't fucking wait. Yoel Romero is getting the McGregor treatment over in Bellator, and he needs to be. He needs to be in every fucking event from here until fucking 5 times, dude. And I hope he wins. I hope. Will he? I mean, who the fuck knows? It's MMA. But I hope he wins. And if he wins, then he'd be like, you know what? I also want to fight for the 185 belt, which he's been calling for. So that would be hilarious and awesome. Yoel Romero ends up becoming double champ at like 45, like 48. Okay, crazy. So yeah, Vadim Nemkov, he is the champ. Then Usman Nurmagomedov beats Patricky Pitbull in a very one-sided fight. Yeah, some people had it, I guess, 10-8 in some rounds. Usman just cuts up Pitbull in one round, a giant, like another eyebrow, just a third eyebrow on his face. And yeah, I think Nurmagomedov's, so Usman, Umar, and Khabib are 60-0 all time, so that's nice. And another belt added to the Nurmagomedov name. We also had Tamir Khizriev. He has had some show out fucking knockouts. He had a unanimous decision win. Yeah, Tyrell Fortune gets defeated by Daniel James via elbows in round 2. And then I forgot which one was it. Sullivan Cauley defeats Jay Raddick via KO in round 1. That was fucking dope. I don't know. There was a ton of finishes on this card though, and I forget about Bellator events because they just announced it like 30 minutes before that's gonna happen. So I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you, Bellator. There was also one thing on Prime, which I had no idea, and that was on the same day. So yeah, there was a ton of MMA this past weekend. A ton of really good MMA. A lot of people were saying that this card that was UFC Vegas 65 was gonna be mid. I didn't see that. I mean, it's one of those like it has the potential to be a really good sneaky one, if anything. Unfortunately, you miss out on a main event. This is the first main event miss in a long ass time, and this was a really really fun card. So I don't want to hear from anybody. But yeah, that's it. Peace. Later. Bye bye. Don't bet on fights if you're a head coach. Don't you do it. Don't do it.